Welcome to Subramani. Uh, Please press the bell icon. Please subscribe. The number of subscribers is not going up fast enough. Anyway, that aside, how many of you remember James Hadley Chase? Because one of the dialogues which used to be very often is, look, the truth doesn't matter. The question is, what will the police believe, which matters, which is absolutely true. Any narrative, what happens is when you are telling it or retelling it, the question is you will want a version which people will believe. And once people believe, then the facts don't really matter. Then it's really a story. So is the market driven by price earning ratio, expected cash flow, etc., etc.? Yes, of course. However, you can tell a story so well that when you are telling the story and you are selling some product, the end result does not really matter to the person if he is enthralled by your storytelling, and then he or she believes it and just buys the product, right? So Gillette told you a story in the early 1900, maybe 1905, 1907, that to be a good looking man you have to be clean shaven, right? So if you see photographs prior to that, Rabindranath Tagore or W.G. Grace or people like him, they all had Albert Einstein, or all of them had long beards, right? It didn't really matter to them. Then Gillette came and told you the story that you have to be clean shaven. They said that story for men. And after they had got half the world's population buying their product, they had to sell to the other half. So they convinced women that body hair is shameful, right? So then it became important that body hair should be removed. Even in the, I think it was again in the early 1900s, maybe 1907, 1910, when people were convinced slowly by Pepsodent that you have to use a brush and some paste to clean your teeth, because prior to that brushing of teeth was not considered to be very important, and you could have actually used your finger to remove the plaque without any substance, right? I mean, my grandmother did that. My grandfather used his finger, right? So they all used Dant Manjan, whatever black color. I still remember it is Negi or Nogi's monkey brand tooth powder which they use. I used it for a long time in my childhood. Right, we also used a toothpaste and a toothbrush, but we used one in the morning and one in the night. So, you know, the teeth got massaged with our finger. But today it is unimaginable that people will think that you can use your finger, but they did the job. But the storytelling was so beautiful that people believed that they should brush their teeth. And today, if somebody comes and tells you brushing your teeth is not needed, you're going to maybe lock him up in the asylum. So the question of how well you sell depends on how well you tell the story. So if you're a startup, you have to be a good storyteller to raise money, because there is nothing on paper to show that you're right or you're wrong. So let us take some cases where the storytelling was so good that people believed it, right? Like the Japan story. I think the index was less than 10,000, maybe 7,000-8,000, I'm quoting from memory, and went up to 40,000 in a period of 10 years, I think 1980 to 1990, right? So something like that. And then the market never recovered from that heights which it reached. Similarly, the Nasdaq went up, I think 1990 to 2000. It went up exactly like that, some below 10,000 to something like 40,000. That is what it did. And the story always was the trees in this place are so tall and they are growing so fast that they will soon touch the sky, right? So that is the story somebody must have told you about Japan if you were in the 1980s or 1979, 1980, saying Japan is growing at such a fantastic pace that the real estate will no longer be available, so buy everything that is available in Japan, and Japan will soon cross the American GDP. Now this did not happen for various reasons. One is the US may have been able to convince Japan that they shouldn't grow at this pace, and pushes away from the #1 slot. For example, they convinced China to have a one-child policy, and that has hurt China so badly that now they have an aging population and their growth rate is coming down. So somewhere somebody will have a narrative by which they will tell you a story, make you believe, take you up. Typically in Hindi this is called chane ke jhaad pe chadana. They take you to the peak, and from there you just kick down. So this happens in every economy various times. So it happened in Japan, it happened in Japan. The dates are 1980 to 1990 is what Japan went up, almost up to 40,000, 38,000 or something on the Nikkei. The technology stocks in the 1980s, Nasdaq went up to 4,000 from definitely sub 1,000. I don't remember, maybe 700, 800 to 4,000. So that is about 5 times, and I think the last part it went up like this. I mean, as straight like this Magnificent Seven. Can the Magnificent Seven fall? Of course they can fall. So something like that happened even in the US in the 2000s. The housing crisis, housing went up fabulously fast, and then it just stayed there, and then it never recovered from the hit that it took. So similarly, the question is, I believe the market is a function of the fantastic storytelling that people are able to do, saying you must buy this iPhone for 1,60,000. You can afford only 40,000, no problem. You can pay the balance by EMI of 4,000 per month for next 4 years or something like that. And people are convinced that they should buy in, and they also go and trade in their old phone for new phone. Exactly how the car market was doing, exactly like that. So you, sir, your car is 4 years old, you can trade in, we will give you 30,000 for the old car and another 80,000 deposit, so just bring a check of 50,000 or something like that, and then again a new car was available to you on an EMI. The question is, how well did they do the storytelling and how much did you believe it? The problem with all these bubbles is, during the bubble you will never be able to find out. Now suppose you have a portfolio, whatever it be, let's say it's worth 1 crore. You have a small cap fund in which you have put, which is 27 lakhs. So 27% of your money is in small cap. That's not too bad. But when you see your portfolio, you see a small cap, you see a balance advantage fund, you see a large cap, and you see one more fund. And you see that small cap has given you 35% return and large cap has given you 12% CAGR in the last 1 year. This is a fantastic reason for you to remove some money from small cap and put it into large cap, not because I think the small cap party is over or anything, but because you know that 35% return that you have got in this fund in the last 1 year on an SIP basis or on a lump sum basis is not going to be sustained. So therefore you remove the money, not because somebody says the party is over, so you should now stop puking and go home and sleep. That's not the theory. The theory is, somebody will tell you this time it is different, there is fantastic scope in small cap if you have a 15-year view. Of course, if you have a 15-year view, it's going to be good. But however, if you have a home loan on which you are paying maybe 7%, 7.5%. Should you remove money from small cap fund and repay that loan? Maybe yes, not because of anything else, but because you know your future EMIs will go down and you can take some of that money and put it into an SIP, maybe into a small cap fund. So removing money from a fund, which is a lump sum removal, let's say you remove 5 lakhs out of that and repay a 20 lakh rupee loan. You have a 20 lakh rupee loan which you have kept for tax break, but you say, okay, I know that this 35% is not sustainable, but let my SIP continue. Maybe you're doing 3,500 rupees SIP in that small cap fund. Let that continue, but let me remove a big portion or a small portion, maybe 20%. And repay a part of the loan that I have, which is a housing loan. So some of these things you have to do. These are some strategies, simply because you don't know in which part of the boom you are. Right, in 1980 to 1990 Japan boom, maybe those who entered in 1989, maybe when the index was already 30,000 plus, the Nikkei was 30,000 plus or 35,000 plus, those people would have got hurt the worst. Those who were doing an SIP over a long period of time, some of them would have removed some money. Others would have said, no, now Japan is going to rule the world, we are going to cross US, my tree is going to touch the sky, right? That kind of a story, somewhere you believed, and therefore you didn't remove. Some people who believed, yes, of course the story is great, fantastic, Japan is going to cross US, the trees are going to touch the sky, but I have 22 trees, why can't I just do that with 17 trees. Let me say cut 5 trees and take that money and put it somewhere else, right? So how much to keep in which asset class, everything is an art. It's not a science. You cannot say, oh, 37% of my money should be in small cap or 27% of my money should be in small cap. In fact, I know advisors who sell only small and mid caps, thinking that all the value add is only going to come from there. I am market cap agnostic. I am not getting into mid cap, small cap, large cap, multi cap, flexi cap stories. I am not getting into any of those stories. I am just saying, if you are doing an SIP in a fund where the last 1 year return looks too good to be true, or it is 3 times, 4 times the expected return, it is nice to take money from that asset class and put it into some other asset class. Suppose you have the fourth asset class which you were carrying was gold, and gold, as you see in your portfolio, is giving you minus 5% return on an SIP basis over 2 years or 3 years, whatever period. Then removing some money from a small cap fund and putting into a world or a gold fund makes a lot of sense for you. May not make sense for me, because I think I have enough of sovereign gold bonds. So to me, it makes no difference where my portfolio is with respect to gold. But yeah, for somebody else, it might make a difference. So depending on all that, depending on which stories you believe, which stories you hear, who is telling it to you, if they tell you things like this time it is different, run from there and start doing a rebalancing. Thank you.